on the outside of the front row. And there is Kenan Sofuoğlu at the back of the second row behind Florian Marino, easy for me to say, and Michael van der Mark on the Honda.
For this World Supersport race ahead of PJ Jacobsen and Jules Cluzel, the championship leader. Marino, van der Mark and Sofuoğlu, the former champion, 3 times champion, shall we say, on 6. Knows this place. He's been around in Spanish Championship quite a few times and, of course, led this World Supersport race last year. Is on pole position on the Yamaha. The lights go red, and almost a bit of a move there from Kev Coghlan, and he's stopped, and then he thought hopefully he won't get picked up for that, but it's a dreadful start from Kev, and it looks like it's PJ Jacobsen that's got the whole shot down into turn 1 ahead of his teammate Florian Marino. So the 2 Kawasaki's getting very well off the line. That's van der Mark in 4th, just behind Kev Coghlan. I can see the CIA Motor Sport Racing, that's number 4. Jack Kennedy got off to a decent start also. That is number 14, Ratapak Willow, just getting done by number 84, Russo, who looked a bit lively yesterday.
He did. He's off actually as well yesterday.
But Kev Coghlan...
You've got to stay with him. If the pack stays together, it doesn't matter if you're 5th or 6th, and you can make your way forward again.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Kenan Sofuoğlu, who's been noticeable by his absence in 5th place. He's not...
It's in there, some even lads I've worked with in the past that I know are really good mechanics and technicians. Not only that, he's got some people in the team. That is Kenan Sofuoğlu's lady, looking fairly pensive in the pit there. But yeah, Kev Coghlan's just found his kind of feet a little bit, and everything's gelled. You know, you go in the garage, they're happy, he's happy, they're really happy with him, I've got to say. And
Zanetti there!
Yep.
Number 26, trying to go underneath Florian Marino, but runs
neck out, I'll tell you.
Well, they're all sitting up there, and this is
massive pack here for
Willow.
Did a fair bit of damage, lots of ligament issues, and kind of, yeah, he's not fully fit. He says he hurts a lot on the bike, he can't move around, and there's lots of places here where he's shoving on your feet one side to another to get through these. The Yamaha's quite an old design compared.
Kev Coghlan is having a look up the inside here. He's going to try the block pass, and it's worked again, and he's run a few people wide, and Sofuoğlu now is in the mix.
Yeah, he is, yeah, and that is the place on this Aragon track that all the action happens. We don't know who it was, but he looked scared.
Yeah, he does look very scared. Kev Coghlan leads across the line with 5 laps remaining, and he flies down into turn 1 ahead of Cluzel.
The thing is, you don't really want to be in the lead at this point. If I was Kev Coghlan, I would want to be in 2nd or 3rd. However, because you're in a pack, you don't want to get beaten up at the wrong time and rob yourself of that chance of winning, you know. So you've almost got to overtake when you can and how you can.
Well, the biggest problem for these guys at the moment is they know there's a 4-way fight for the lead. Someone's not going to get on the podium here, and Sofuoğlu. Mark, look at van der Mark.
Look at this.
Sofuoğlu.
Yeah, watch this. I mean, that's just...
That's a bit nasty, that, isn't
not
it?
nasty, but you know it's holding him up.
And this is at the end of the hairpin. Now, van der Mark runs wide again,
yep, so
and he's lost...
the headbutt thing, and he knocked Sam Lowes down at Sill, and all that, I get all that, but when you speak to him, you get why he's like he is. He's a nice lad.
Well, this is about as strung out as we've seen them so far in this race. Kev Coghlan doing a good job here.
Come on, Kev.
Said with gritted teeth. He's keeping your fingers crossed here, and it would be... Oh! And that's a massive moment! Oh, can you believe it? Could not get it stopped.
Come on, Kev. Let's hope that Kev Coghlan's away. Cluzel's looking at getting going again. And that's just disaster for the pair of them. Let's just hope Kev Coghlan's R6 Yamaha's got all the levers and the footrest in. Here we go again. Cluzel's up the inside, and he can't get it stopped. And that's just out of order, is that, I've got to say. And what did I tell you? You know, he knows he's not going to stop. He knew he wasn't going to stop there. Bad move from Cluzel. Bad move. What he should have done, he's realised that was going to happen, let the brakes off and swoop to the outside, because you cannot steer that bike as well when you've got the brakes hard on. No, that would annoy me. Kev Coghlan has possibly been robbed of his first Supersport win there.
That is, well, that is a commentary curse if ever you've seen one, but he has rejoined, he's in 5th place.
Yeah.
But it is such a shame for Coghlan, who was looking very strong, and guess who's leading?
Not a shame for this lad, and you've got to say he's put the hard work in, and that sort of thing's happened. There's nothing to say that he wouldn't have been pushing for the win anyway, but that has just handed it to him on a plate, in my opinion.
These two guys, first and second, Kenan Sofuoğlu here, number 54, and Van der Mark, number 60, were fighting for the win in Phillip Island. They both fell. Yeah. They need the points.
They do, and they both fell in really weird conditions and circumstances. They were both running 190 rear tyres because that was felt to be the best for the abrasive Scotsman. He's going to a big whack. Isn't a problem.
As it stands, Marino's going to be the one on the podium. Yeah, Florian Marino, the Frenchman, number 21. He's in third place behind Michael van der Mark, who's pushing it now, trying desperately to close in on Kenan Sofuoğlu.
He's not going to do it. I can tell you now, Sofuoğlu is a cleverer cookie than that, and this is, yeah, it's kind of upset me as that, because I reckon Coughlin was going to be the man to beat in that. It just seemed to... in actual fact, yes, it was.
Kenan Sofuoğlu it is that leads. Michael van der Mark in second place. Jack Kennedy has moved up into 11th. Meanwhile, Fraser Rogers up into 18th now.
Fastest man last lap was Van der Mark, but only by a tenth of a second, and I cannot see this man letting this one out of his grasp now. I can't, from the position he's in.
Well, he made a mistake last year, losing the front end.
He did.
Stranger things have happened, and this championship has so far been rather unpredictable. So we have been robbed of a great race here because it was looking so good for Kev Coughlin.
No, we've had a brilliant race. We just got robbed of what I think would have been a brilliant first win for Kev Coughlin. I honestly think. Yes, Coughlin is going to finish fifth, I think, if nothing else goes wrong. He is holding his own now in fifth, so the bike is going straight and he's able to ride it.
Yeah, he's got about 3 seconds over De Rosa in sixth as well, so fifth place and 11 points for him. Funnily enough, I think would probably make him championship leader.
Yes, with the exit of Clazel. Yes. I think you're right.
So it's looking like a win for Kenan Sofuoğlu. What a record he has got in World Supersport. Maybe not. I mean, he'll take this, won't he?
I'll be honest, right? I mean, I like the lad, but if he was a little terrier and he was clamped onto your ankle, you'd have to kill him to get him off. He just never stops.
Florian Marino there, number 21. He's had one podium in World Supersport before now, and it looks like he's going to add to that. He got a fourth place in Phillip Island. He's going to follow it up with a third. Nice and consistent start to the 2014 season here for the Frenchman.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's one of those results where he's had a little bit of help there. A few people going out in front like he did in Phillip Island, but he's in there somewhere. You know, he's riding quick. I've got to say that Marino came with a real kind of fanfare. People thought he was even better than Baz when they first hit the scene in European Superstock 600 as 15-year-olds.
Kenan Sofuoğlu heads down the back straight, and it's looking like career win number 27 for him.
Should be all right for the housekeeping this week.
All will be well. Down into the hair, looking at the winner here in Aragon.
He's run wide. Way wide.
Luckily for him, he's got a bit of an advantage over Van der Mark, but he's pushing his luck a bit there.
He was.
But nevertheless, Kenan Sofuoğlu, the 2007, the 2010 and the 2012 champion, wins here in Aragon ahead of Michael van der Mark. The pair of them both needed the points, having scored zeros at Phillip Island. That will do him the world of good. And Marino gets a podium here in 2014. Third place for him ahead of Zanetti.
And I wonder if my old mechanic who started his mechanicking career with me and with me for several years, Robert Butch Cartwright, who's now working for Sofuoğlu, is on bonus. I think he is.
Fifth place it is for Kev Coughlin, and well, so unfortunate for him. It's a matter of what if, and I'm sure that he'll be heading straight round to the MV Augusta garage to have a quick word with the Frenchman Jules Cluzel, who pretty much wiped him out of the race. But nevertheless, fifth place is good enough for 11 points, and he will lead the championship. Number 16 is under investigation, by the way. That is Jules Cluzel. It was 6th for De Rosa, 7th for Tamburino, then Leonov, Gamarino and Willaro in the top 10. The Turkish flag flies for Kenan Sofuoğlu. This is his 83rd Supersport race, his 58th podium.
You would never bet against him. He just has that about him, you know. He's got the determination that is difficult to understand if you're normal. I've got to say, I'm really, really disappointed for Kev Coughlin. I think he could have been right in the mix, and possibly looking favourite to take that win. Just the way he was able to get it stopped into that hairpin every single time would have put him favourite for the win for me. Poor old Kev. I've got to be honest, I've had a few duels with Scots people over the years, you know, Scots riders, lots of them in my day, and I was beaten up a couple of times by them, so I'm not sure whether they're going to go around there. One guy called Rory Thompson, it was my fault, I did knock him down at Scarborough, he did come round, pulled me out of the caravan and roughed me up. And I deserved it, actually.
Kenan Sofuoğlu wins here in Aragon in an enthralling Supersport race. Michael van der Mark in second ahead of Marino on the podium. Zanetti fourth on his return to the paddock, and Coghlan recovering to fifth ahead of De Rosa and Tamburini. There is Kennedy in 11th, so he picks up some points ahead of Rolfo Schmitter. Jacobson down in 14th. Topsy-turvy race for him, and Fraser Rogers in 18th. Further down, of course, the retirements, and most notably, Jules Clouseau. Great result, though, for Kenan Sofuoğlu. He's finally got some points on the board, and it's a win here in Aragon.
Desperate disappointment then for Kev Coghlan. Turkish delight, though, for Kenan Sofuoğlu, the winner of the World Supersport. Reaction after the break.
The race, they both seem pretty happy with the result. Kenan Sofuoğlu back to winning ways again. In his 83rd Supersport race, it's his 58th podium, his 27th win.
Yeah, and that puts him into fourth in the World Supersport Championship now.
Yeah, it's a very close champion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 2 rounds, granted, but Kev Coghlan does lead overall, 2 points ahead of Marino, who's then 3 points ahead of De Rosa. I mean, you wouldn't have called that at the start of the season, would you?
Last Scot to lead a World Supersport Championship, probably Ian McPherson, I think.
You're probably not far wrong there. Sofuoğlu then, who picked up per 0, just like Van der Mark back in Phillip Island. He's not always had the best results here in Aragon, of course. The headbutt incident a couple of years ago, then losing the front end last year. He's put it right this year, though. There's Kenan's crew chief, picking up a trophy also.
You used to have mechanics, now you have crew chiefs. It's mint.
So the first time this season, the national anthem for Turkey, and of course the winner, Kenan Sofuoğlu.
The national anthem of Turkey.
And now the national anthem for the winning manufacturer as well, Kawasaki and Japan.
Y ahora, en honor del fabricante ganador, himno nacional de Japón, ganó Kawasaki. Now honoring Kawasaki, the winning manufacturer, the national anthem of Japan.
Well, if you're just tuning in and you're seeing Kenan Sofuoğlu standing on the top step of World Supersport, it wasn't quite as easy as that.
No.
He was there to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, he'd have been in the mix somewhere, but I think favourite to win that race would have been Kev Coghlan. Like I've said, he just looked so good into the hairpin. That is the decisive part of this track. It's near the end of the lap, and I think he would have been, in pole position to win.
Michael van der Mark there in the Pata leathers, led in the early stages, but made a couple of key errors that pushed him back and pretty much out of the mix.
Yeah, when you look, there's 10 years difference between the winner there, Kenan Sofuoğlu, who only seems to have been on the scene for not that long, really, to me. But the two younger riders on that are flanking him, that's Marino, he's 20.
To the former champion, Kenan Sofuoğlu. Kenan, again, like Michael, a disappointing opening race in Australia, but played a waiting game nice and steady in the early part and coming strong with a victory when it mattered.
Yes, we were very disappointing from Phillip Island and beginning of this weekend, and we had some problem. I couldn't make so much lap. I was really not motivated, but this morning I wake up really different. I say today I have to do it. In warm-up I improve. When we start to race, I see everybody doing so crazy in hairpin. I was so afraid, and I prefer to watching what's happening in the race. And when we are reaching last 5 lap, I think now I have to push much as possible to win the race. Then they crash in the front. Then I get more relaxed because I knew it's going to be not easy to beat them, but I was for sure going to fight it last few laps to win that race. I'm happy for championships now, and I'm getting back 25 points. Looks like we are on the way. I want to say thanks to Kawasaki, to my team, to my mechanics, and to everybody who's supporting me because we was really needed to win this race. Thank you very much.